just does feel like, as you're describing that to me, that this is it's the Oscars, but
Bring
circa,
your microphone up. Bring your microphone
yeah, it's
up.
like this is like the Oscars circa 1975 when there were like 4 fucking categories, and then movies evolved, and they realized that we need a category for special effects, something that
we need a category
we just
for
didn't
women.
have.
You know. Oh my gosh! I think the first thing we should talk about today is the fucking mojito.
Oh, you want to talk about the delicious watermelon mojitos?
I need to understand how we got from, hey Steve, I'm thinking about cracking a beer, to watermelon mojitos.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's very simple. Look, I can't keep a lot of plants alive, buddy. You know this about me. I'm not the plant guy. The plant sitting just to your right, that's Javier. He's the longest and most tenured plant I've ever had, and I have nearly killed him like 14
This
times.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I've wanted to like I've wanted to give Javier a boost since I've seen him.
Yeah, you can. He would love a little bit of love from his Uncle Casey.
When's the last time he got soil from you?
We replanted him in that pot about 3 years ago.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. It's a pothos. They're strong. Anyway, you didn't get the mint from the pothos though.
No. So I'm just bad at keeping plants alive.
Okay.
And one of the plants that's nearly impossible to kill in this world is mint. So it's a very just easy herb. And I love to cook with mint, not just in cocktails, but it's great for like salads, especially just really anytime. It's a great summertime item to freshen things up and give it a little zest. And so my mint plant was doing really well. And anytime it's summer and the mint's doing well, my brain goes to mojitos and mint juleps, two of my best cocktails that I make. I make a absolutely perfect classic mojito. And then I do love watermelon this summer. So we had watermelon in the house, and I thought, you know what we should do today for this episode of Brotosynthesis? Watermelon mojito.
Nothing like a little rainy day mojito.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's pouring outside, but it's sunny in here, baby. I had not ever made one before. I'd made a few variations of mojito, and when I tried it, I was like, it's perfect. This and a coconut are my two favorite
coconut
riffs.
mojito.
Coconut mojito, classic.
Mango is probably the biggest.
Mango's great
that I've ever. I've made thousands of mojitos. My first bartending job was Woody's Rum Bar. So I'm talking, bro, like muddling it was like this forearm.
Don't get me started on Woody's.
And this forearm was baby because I just muddled, you know, like I had like overuse injuries from it. Bro.
People are coming in and like, you jerk off, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, nah, dude, I just got a barrel of a mojito maker.
I'm a muddler.
Yeah, I'm a big muddler.
I was born to muddle.
Yeah.
My father was a muddler. His father was a muddler. His
recently completed the 7th Tough Muddler Award.
Oh, God damn.
Oh, we should start it. We're
starting it? All right, let's start the show. Welcome to Brotosynthesis. I am Steve.
I'm Casey.
And we're just two boys from Baltimore, cutting it about life, sports, and anything we find interesting. What were you just talking about there?
I think the first thing.
Woody's Rum Bar.
Yeah, Woody's Rum Bar, bro.
Don't do that to me. Don't start a big topic like Woody's Rum Bar and get me all jazzed, get the engines running.
Well, man, because, okay, so I miss Woody's because, so Woody's was my first, like, bartending job, right?
Really?
Yeah. So I
that's not true.
Yeah, 100%.
How did that not come up when I interviewed you on the Bartender Ram podcast?
Because I was in like Sunset days then.
Oh, okay.
That was obviously like small to more rock star life. Like I felt like everything came to me easily then. So Orange Crushes were it.
I just didn't know that Woody's was the first bartending gig.
Yeah, so I'd bar backed a bunch of places after the Marines, and then so I worked at like all these little like brand new opening places in the city that they were like habitual spots that closed and opened. You know what I mean? I didn't know the lay of the land when I was getting into the scene here. And so I was like, fuck it, man. I walked down to Fells Point and I just started applying for jobs because I was like, I'm not making enough money as a bar back. I'll fucking find somewhere in Fells to be a bar back. And eventually I'll start bartending and make good money. And at Slancha, Slancha's an Irish pub in Fells Point. And it was my first, they hired me as a bar back and they owned a 3rd story bar. They leased the space. and they weren't gonna brand a 3rd-story deck bar Sláinte Irish pub
To an Irish
with
pub,
great water
yeah.
views, right? So it was a completely different restaurant, completely different menu, and there were like 2 people that worked there. 10 tables, 2 people, 3rd floor island, right? And that's where they started all the new bartenders, because it was all tropical drinks. And as anyone knows who's ever made a tropical drink, really hard to fuck it up, because as long as it tastes tropical, people are pretty much going to be not mad at you.
For sure. I mean, there's certain, there's obviously the entire category of tiki out there, which takes tropical drinks to the craft level. And there's a lot of pieces and parts to it. But when we're just talking about your standard local bar or tourism bar, tropical drink, I mean, it's hard to fuck these drinks up.
Well, it's like rum punch. What's in a rum punch? Flavored rums, flavored juice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people aren't ever going to complain when they were like
a blue Hawaiian,
exactly.
shit like that.
It's
got a cherry, it's blue, it's
make
sweet.
It pineapple,
fucking
make
shut
it
up, man, and drink it.
Exactly. Like, just keep it rolling.
What's crazy, and I got to give people some context here. We've certainly talked about Fells on the show, and if you're from Baltimore, you know that's near and dear to your heart. That's a special district. If you've never been to Baltimore, it's usually the first place people tell you to go. Go to Fells, right? It's a historic bar district, cobblestone streets, you know, these big wharfs that jut out into the water. For those of us that are from here, though, it is an interesting sort of relationship with that district. We all, you know, as locals of the city of Baltimore, we all have a place that we love in Fells. That's like our go-to spot that we almost feel protective of. Like, that's not a tourist trap. That's my bar, right? And we also have places in Fells that we would never go because we like judge the touristiness of them, and like they're not our scene. So Fells is this weird eclectic mix, but it's a great bar district. It's got a lot to offer. And you know, you and I, our relationship actually started there. You know, we were both
drunk one night.
Yeah, well,
making eyes at each other.
That's right. I fell in love right there on the pier. Right there on the pier. Overlooking the Domino Sugar sign. I said,
smelling like molasses.
I said,
booty
will you
butter.
be my bald brother? Let's start a podcast together. No, it's crazy because, you know, you were working for Sláinte and Woody's Rum Bar, and obviously the owner of that bar was also affiliated with Cooper's Tavern, which was this famous burger place down there. And you know, beginning of my second year of law school, I started working at Cooper's and down in Fells, and then eventually you and I opened the county location way up in Jacksonville,
wherever the fuck that was.
Yeah. But what is interesting to me is the 6 degrees of separation, because I spent the entire summer of 2014 and 2013 at Woody's Rum Bar. And
I don't remember you at all.
Yeah. It's surprising because I would regularly get thrown out of there. I'm a pretty big soccer fan. And the summer of 2013 was the World Cup qualifiers.
Okay.
And Woody's,
now I see what's happening.
Woody's Rum Bar was one of the few places that you could go. And Sláinte is a soccer bar.
Yeah, that's why.
Right?
They already paid for all the games, so they streamed them all on
Sláinte is a soccer bar. So if you wanted to, you know, and it was an American Outlaws post, right?
Whatever that is.
The biggest soccer like supporters club in the U.S. for U.S. National soccer is called American Outlaws.
Can I have one follow-up question on
please.
American Outlaws? Is it an S or a Z at the end?
It's
that will. They're respectable to me.
They're the people.
If they had a Z on that, I'd be like, you should not.
If you're
associate.
Are you familiar with that chant? I believe that we will win.
I am.
Right. That's the American Outlaws, right? Okay. Anyway,
I love that.
So Sláinte was an American Outlaws post, and everybody would go there to watch these U.S. national games. And when the World Cup is coming up, there's always like this lead up to the qualification. So the year before, the summer before, is huge. There's a ton of big national games. So I remember going to Sláinte often with my friends to watch the qualifier games for the U.S. team for the 2014 World Cup. And eventually what happened is we got closer and closer and closer to the World Cup. You couldn't get a fucking seat in that joint because there aren't a lot of soccer bars around town.
No.
And so my buddies and I, we'd meet at Sláinte and Fells, and we would try to get a seat, and we couldn't get one. And so eventually bartenders would say, hey, if you want, you can go upstairs and hang out in Woody's Rum Bar. They have the games on up there.
Come see this guy.
And we'd go walk upstairs and we'd sit in Woody's Rum Bar, and we thought it was the coolest place in the world. Glass. They had that. You guys had that glass railing. You're on the second or third floor. You're overlooking
you're on the
harbor.
third floor.
It's one of the few places in Fells that has a view of the water.
Yeah, still to this day.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I loved that room, and
It
I
was
was
open air.
I'm a big rum drinker. I don't like
So much good.
I love a good Euro stout or porter, which is what Solange had on deck.
I got introduced to dark and stormies.
But
there.
doggy, it's
You know what I mean?
summertime.
Let's go.
It's summertime.
I'm not trying to drink a Guinness in the middle of summer.
You're
although I
boil
did last
bang a
week.
Guinness anytime, but I'd rather have a mojito
100%.
when it's 95 degrees in
100%.
August and the U.S. national team is playing. All right, so we started hanging out at Woody's Rum Bar, and we kind of felt leading up to the World Cup in 2014 that like that was our bar. We were regular staples there, and this is where we were going to watch the World Cup. And then the World Cup was so big that year. Landon Donovan goes crazy. We make the deepest run in the tournament the U.S. national team ever has.
Zero recollection of this from my part.
It's such a special time to be a U.S. soccer fan. We've never experienced anything like that. It was such an electric year. It ended with the German team absolutely smoking Brazil 5 or 6 or 7-0. I can't remember what it was in the final exactly, but the reason I bring it up,
I was like, man,
I was at Woody's Rum Bar for every single men's national game for that entire run. I lived there. I left multiple legal internships early to make it to those games, full suit, sweating my ass off, walking from the courthouse downtown to drink mojitos at Woody's Rum Bar and root on the national team. Is incredible. Incredible.
I think the best part of that story, maybe the worst part, is we'll never get that time back. We'll never get that time back.
It was perfect.
I was hoping the whole time that story had a punchline.
You mean the time of the story?
I knew the first part one.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? For a few people out there listening along or watching along or reading along, you know what's going to be nostalgic for you? The 2014 World Cup, which was a time in America. It was a better time. COVID had not hit.
No.
Trump had not become president. I mean, my God,
still in the middle
we
of
were
the wars.
we were still rebounding from the 2008 economic collapse. But I felt like I had my whole life ahead of me. I was in my second year of law school. Landon Donovan gave me national pride for the first time in my entire life.
Landon Donovan's what it took to give you national pride. We should definitely talk about that part.
Nah, I'm just kidding. That's not true. But
The widow's peak to end all widow's peaks.
hey, I have a widow's peak.
Same,
all right,
bro.
What are you talking about? That's
My shit grows in the same way. I just don't let it. Like it grows in with that little island in the front.
What are you,
know what I mean?
laser? Do you laser?
No.
I've
This is God given. It doesn't grow based on a man upstairs, son. I'm so
I've
bald.
thought about laser.
I'm so bald you can see it from behind. Like if I don't have a hat on, my bald goes like down the back. You know what I mean? I remember being like 25 and on a flight somewhere. Like you remember when all your friends get married and fucking every vacation you have to take is a destination wedding because your friends are assholes. Do you remember?
Sure. Yeah.
You don't remember? He's got friends that'll actually.
No,
listen.
last year
Yeah,
all 3 weddings I went to a destination wedding.
I was like on the plane going to one, and I'm in the airplane bathroom. I close the door behind me, and they have mirrors on both sides. And I should
for the fucking.
Yeah, obviously, and to make it feel bigger because of the effect of all the mirrors. But I'm in this bitch taking a pee, and I look in the mirror. And I see my reflection of the back of me in the mirror, right? And I was like, oh my.
Really knock you down a peg or two.
Bro, I was like going all the way down the back. It was crazy, man. I'm so bald.
That's probably why department stores, like Marshalls, they don't have the dual mirror. They don't want you to be able to see the back. They don't want that double time reflection.
They're like, you
don't
figure
need to
this
see
out
your
of your
ass.
house.
Honey.
Did I tell you the Woody story that was like recent?
Well, yes, I want you to get into that, but just put a pin in this for me. What was that run like for you? What was it? Were you
World Cup run?
Yeah.
I don't remember it at all. Like I have zero recollection.
Because it was packed in there.
I mean, bro, this is like how my life went for years. You remember this? It was like I drank like 5 nights a week. I went to college. I was Woody's was like a place I went to find a lady. I didn't think about any of the stuff going on.
I do remember the first night that Casey and I ever got drunk together.
Oh,
I do remember that, and I don't want to like. We can put a pin in that.
We should come back to that today.
Put a pin in that.
I don't even think that the Woody's story is that funny.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like just a savage move by the
well, then
owner
do me
that
a favor.
I thought was really respectable.
I had told a boring story. You tell one now.
Okay, I'll go boring story next. Okay, here we go. So, Steve's giving you a big layout of Slancha and how it attracts all these people. I'll give you a little layout of like logistically, operationally, what this bitch looks like. So, it's first floor row home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second floor row home plus basically 3 row homes. So imagine a world where on the second and third floor, this restaurant connected to the buildings next to it and went through to make a much larger footprint.
The only other thing, because you keep saying row home.
Well, that's, I mean, it's a,
no, that's fine. That's correct.
They're row homes that were converted into businesses 100 years ago. But
I only stop you because is how much wood paneling is in this building, right? I think people have an idea in their head what a row home looks like.
Okay,
this truly looks like some Irish pub.
Yeah.
Private club.
This is the second floor of Slancha is probably like, if we just like put it in, there's like 15 windows across the front. It's probably like 100 and some odd feet.
It's a historic
by
building.
Like 30 feet. It's a big ass rectangle and about 3 times the size of the first floor, right? So basically, Slancha is 1, 2, 3 floors, like the building proper, and then it connects to the building next to it, right? And we're gonna have to add like a picture of this or a link or something,
just
right?
Something.
So anyway, the building that it's connected to, attached to, is owned by someone else. Slancha leased the space, and Woody's leased the space, while the main portion of the business, like the owner, owned.
I didn't know
that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh,
so around COVID days, when rents were getting all weird and things were going crazy, the lease comes up on Slancha and Woody's, the second floor.
This is actually explaining so much of the ripple effect. Of
Yes.
I didn't know this.
What you got to know is, like, in Slancha, you would go up to the second floor, and you'd basically have probably like 5 to 10 restaurant tables worth of room, right? There was like that little space had 5 or 6 tables boosts around. Then you step down into the part that is below Woody's, i.e. the huge second floor. It's like a 40
or 50 seats.
Yeah, I was about to say 20 feet, 20 seat, and then a few around the corner.
With that seating, with the table area and the bar.
Shit ton of space on the second floor. Like literally triple the footprint of the first floor. So the moneymaker. Owner of the other building goes to jack up the rent on second floor Slancha and Woody's, right? So the owner of Slancha proper is not having it. He's like, what are you going to put there? Like the second
have to
floor
come through my front door to even get up there.
No, there's a side entrance to Woody's.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
you remember that, right?
Yeah.
But there's no fucking plumbing. Like the owner of Slancha, the bathrooms on the third floor where the water was supplied to Woody's from,
he could turn it
off.
He could cut it.
So he was like, who the fuck's gonna rent? Like, you can't put a restaurant there. Like, they can't rent the space because there's no fucking water. Like, you either have to replumb this entire thing, or you can like lease it back to me at the rate that I
can afford,
right?
Yeah.
Or we'd agreed upon, or whatever.
I didn't know this.
So the guy's like, fuck that, pay higher, whatever. And so the owner of Slancha, and business owners are fucking creative, man. Like, business owners don't get into business without a commitment to making shit work. So at the end of the day, like, if you put some shit in front of their face that's like a big challenge, an owner, you got to understand, right? Like, they're committed. Their family's bread comes from this place. So there is no like, I'm not making it work. I gotta figure this out and eat this guy's terms. This guy thought he had all the leverage. So you know what the owner of Slancha did? He just walled off the second floor and was like, good luck renting it out with no plumbing. It's been vacant for years, bro. And the second floor of Slancha is now the 5 or 10 tables with a bar up there.
Let's rewind for a second, okay? Multiple times in the last couple of years, as you and I have tried to raise Hotlines from the ground, right? This business venture that we've gone, deep down the rabbit hole together with. We have met at Solancha for lunch, and we've had sessions where we've chatted and talked.
We never walked upstairs, did you?
We've never made it past the front bar, and we never needed to, right?
Well,
we've gone on quieter
as a
days.
person that worked there, I never got the bartend downstairs, so I like to eat there.
I don't remember the last time I've gone to the second floor. Are you telling me?
I am. Bro, you walk up there. You remember there used to be bathrooms, big Santa seat. There's a bar.
There used to be a giant red chair.
Now there's a huge TV, and like it is literally.
You're telling me I can't even get to that second floor?
No, bro. No, it's walled off. It's walled off completely. The owner was like,
I need to go to investigate this for myself.
I swear, dude. He was like, fuck off.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like he was literally like, hey, I'd rather put a wall up than do business with you.
Nothing has ever been active in Woody's since COVID, correct?
No. That's the same reason.
A travesty of justice.
Oh my gosh.
One of the greatest spaces.
If someone wants to give us like
Fells.
a cool 1.5 for a liquor only bar. You know what I mean?
Man.
That place would crush. You could bring in food trucks, put them on the square right across there. People could go down and up. It would be the simplest way to do things.
It is the coziest
and it's such a nice view.
It's the coziest elevated view in the whole entire district.
There is no other elevated view in Fells unless you're at an office building.
That's not true.
Where you got?
Okay. Pearls Cup, since they've done the renovation.
Yeah, okay.
If you go all the way upstairs,
if
you go all the way upstairs, that one's good. The new waterfront. So since waterfront renovated, once they became,
they have a top.
Have you been there? Have you been there recently?
No, I don't.
So, Atlas Restaurant Group bought waterfront, right? And I just want a 350 Natty Bow. You know what I mean? I just want something cheap. Do you remember at the top? And listen, we can talk about Atlas on another show. We'll put it on the board. Put Atlas on. Put it on the board. All right. But do you remember when you used to walk up the stairs at Waterfront? There was like that weird, funky shaped room in a bar, and then some bathrooms, right?
Well, I love that stuff about these old bars.
It turns out there was a 4,000 square foot space on the other side of that bar, and they turned that into a concert.
I saw that. We walked through it.
It's a concert venue.
Yeah, but I didn't know it had a rooftop on it now.
Well, no. So the concert venue's on one side,
but
when you go to top of the stairs, the other side is now open air, facing the water.
Okay.
And then the Pendry.
Can you get right up to it?
Well, you can it's just the windows are completely open.
Yeah, Woody's
it's not like
open
Woody's.
air.
Woody's is like straight up open air.
The closest you can get to Woody's is the Pendry, but the Pendry you got
the pool bar. The pool
you
bar.
You got to pay like a admission fee and the mojitos at the pool bar are 16 to 17.
Also, they're not good.
Not well spent.
They don't. Can we talk about? I mean, again,
a little bit of love in a mojito.
I feel like we're stacking up a lot of different topics, but the quality of. Not quality is not the right word. The abilities of some of the food and beverage people at the Pendry is questionable for a building.
Yeah, you really wish they would have given it like a wit and wisdom level of
I feel like I'm spending a lot and I'm not getting quite the quality.
Like when you go to like the Harbor East area and you order a cocktail, if it's an $18 cocktail. Honestly, at most other bars in the city, if you have any $15 to $20+ cocktail,
so let's talk about the close ones, right? It's the entire, and again, I hate to invoke Atlas again, but it's that entire Atlas row, right? It's Italian disco or cafe disco. It's Tagliata. It's Elk Room, right? That entire strip right there. The quality of people that work in that joint, I mean, they can make very, very good cocktails. And that's not even my go-to joint. I mean, I when we talked earlier about how Fells is this very personal place for us locals, and it's a tourist trap for if you just coming from out of town. My favorite place, One Eye Mike's. I think it's the best old-fashioned Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nice little hideaway.
Oh, gosh.
But even the Bygone, right? The Bygone is a place that is way overpriced and super swanky.
Well, that's
overpriced, not the right word.
That though,
overpriced, not the right word. The price point is similar to what we're looking at the Pendry, but the quality you get
much better.
Makes sense. Anyway, we've run a thread away from Woody's Rum Bar. The point is, it's a place that you and I forever. I used to recommend Woody's as the first place people go. If you have to go to Fells,
it's a view, it's a great drink.
I love it, man.
All the windows are open.
I miss it.
All right, last question on rum bars or this.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place or a place of high repute for your tiki drinks now that Woody's is closed?
In Baltimore, you're saying?
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
For the locals. This is for the locals. This podcast is not for national views yet.
Yeah, it's tricky because my favorite rum drink of all time, even though we're talking a lot about mojitos,
Cosmo.
Drinking no, we're drinking watermelon mojitos. I love a dark and stormy. And it's a
hangover in a cup. Oh yeah.
It's a controversial drink because 9 times out of 10, if you order a dark and stormy at a bar, what a bartender will do is they'll put the clear rum in, and they'll put the molasses rum in, and they'll put the ginger beer in, and they'll either like stir it or kind of pour it or maybe like lightly shake it and kind of mix it all up.
That's wrong.
And give you the lime wedge and hand it to you, and they'll be like, here's your dark and stormy. And it's like, excuse me, bitch, where are my fucking storm clouds? Right? So the reason I love
I liked getting them myself.
The reason I like the dark and stormy as a cocktail is it provides not only entertainment in the drinking process, but a great end result. So a good dark and stormy is clear rum and ginger beer, maybe a little squeeze of lime if you so choose as the bartender to do that as a prerequisite. And then you float that molasses rum on top.
I've made hundreds to thousands of those and never made it that way.
Okay. Well, then you've made it wrong 100 to 1,000 times.
I don't know. It was always like Black Seal rum with Black
Right.
Seal ginger beer. Like,
this is
what
my
else do you even add?
So what happens is the clear rum is the base of the
never
drink.
added clear rum.
So the clear rum is the base of the drink. That and the ginger beer is the drink. What you do is you float an entire shot of molasses rum on top, and because of the sugar in the molasses rum, it's heavy, it floats on top, and it literally looks like
I know
storm clouds.
You get that effect with no clear rum, though.
I know. But what's great is this is a much more potent drink. So when you put a straw in it,
yeah. But if you doubled up your shots, like if your count was, because my shit was like half and half.
So some of it is the pageantry of it. Like, hey, look, here's the storm clouds floating on top.
Yeah, for sure.
But the other part of it is the practicality of drinking it a specific way. So it's just like a mind eraser where you drink from the bottom to the top. If you drink a dark and stormy from the bottom to the top with a straw, your very last sip is that molasses rum. That wonderful.
I don't know if I'm 100% in agreement about how you do it. I'll take the recipe from you.
Not mix
because you're talking about doing like
I can
drinking
name you,
it straight
I can name
through.
you 5 drinks right now that are just like this.
I'm not arguing with your bartending knowledge. You fucking do a bartender podcast.
No. I'm not asking.
It's not about that. It's more like I've never thought to drink a dark and stormy like I would drink a mind eraser. So the thought about like the natural mixing process is going to happen just by like, should we just like put a hard pin in this?
No, it's okay. If you want to mix your drinks, that's fine. All I'm trying to say is some of the fun is to have a drink finish a certain way. It's kind of like
fair.
It's kind of like adding chimichurri to a steak versus eating the steak plain. Like the steak is delicious. It's also delicious with the chimichurri. Sometimes I like to mix up the bites. Right?
I get you.
You know,
I get you. Mind eraser, far cry from a dark and stormy though. Oh my gosh.
Don't talk shit on the mind.
Oh, I'm not talking shit. I love them.
Yeah.
I hate that I love them so much.
Anyway, so for a dark and stormy, I got to tell you, there are a lot of good bars around town. If we're gonna get bougie, Bluebird makes an exceptional one.
I took my rack, man. They have great tiki drinks.
Yeah, they really do. They do all cocktails well because they really put a lot of care into them. The other place that I have had one that I've been very happy and drank way too many was Waterfront. But sneaky recommendation, your neighborhood, the best dark and stormy in the entire city of Baltimore, and it's not close. Better than Bluebird. Hamden Yards.
There's no way I would ever go back there.
Hamden Yards.
Oh God.
Go have their dark and stormy, dude.
You wanna know? Can I tell you my Hamden Yards
what
experience?
happened? No, hold on. Answer the question first. Your favorite place for a rum drink?
It was gonna be Bluebird. I just remember being a little tipped up in there and
just tipped up in Bluebird or
Hamden Yards? Tipped up in Bluebird, and like having the presentation of the tiki drinks was amazing. Like it's true, like well done. It's in a special glass. It's got every little flit and flutter you would want it to have. Yeah. Sometimes those drinks are at odds with the theme of the place, which as my like Virgo, everything in a box doesn't square with, because it's like a library themed bar. So I want the cocktails to be like out of And maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe it's deeper than I even imagined.
It is.
But Hamden Yards, bro. This is what happened to me in Hamden Yards in 30 seconds. I order a drink. Friend orders a drink. Bartender comes over with drinks. You order all your drinks through an app, not from the bartender. So I read a list. I pick a drink. Bartender comes over, is like, here's drinks, names them. And I'm like, what's in them? Because I only remember the ingredients that I bought it on, not the weird name of the restaurant, right? And the bartender's just like, I don't know, man, they're batched. And I was like, well, I don't even know. Like, how do you, like, I'm tipping you for this? It was a pre-mixed shit that you brought over to me in ice with a lime.
How long ago were you there?
A week.
You were there a week ago?
Bro, this was like, I'm telling you, it was like 10 days ago. Shit was like, it was literally, it was I tipped 10%. And those of you who are bartenders know that
This is shocking.
It takes a very dismal level of service to tip less than 20%.
Huh.
As an adult, as a bartender for so many years, 20 is the minimum because this is how these people make their lives. I was like addressed with so much. I was like, man, this is ridiculous. I would never come here again.
I'm surprised by this because Anna and I go there a decent bit. We go there with the.
Well, I went there on a Tuesday.
We go there during the week usually.
Really?
Yeah, because she
like baseball games.
No, she works there right there on
that's right.
36. So we just drop down there, and occasionally I'll bring the dog over, and it's dog friendly.
If anyone's stalking Anna, no, you now know.
Oh, great! I doxed her. Fuck. Now I'm gonna have to. Now I'm gonna have to blurt this out. I should just go with the lady. Like
Steve's moving.
Motherfucker. Anyway, we take the dog there because it's dog friendly and it's outside. And I love that little cove between, kind of it's a little quiet. It's away from 36 because it's behind the church. And I'm a little surprised by this.
I know, man.
Because every experience I've had,
I think it's gonna be an amazing. I was like, man, it looks amazing.
Every experience I've had has been great, even when they've been busy. I usually sit at the bar there where you can order right off your QR code. But what's great is if you sit right at the bar, you can just tell the bartender and they just ask you
to sit at the bar.
They just ask you to pay.
They said you order off the QR.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding, bro.
This is a bit of a surprise. Also, I've seen the bartenders make the drinks there.
That's what I'm saying. It was a crazy.
My expectation is maybe that there was some staffing issue that day. They batched a bunch of drinks, and whoever was there didn't know how to bartend, but was just kind of serving them.
That's cool. You know what I appreciate in those times? In those times, just tell me.
Yeah,
because like I'm an adult, I can see that, recognize that.
This is a management issue, like a people management issue.
I think it speaks to like at restaurants, the killer of all restaurants is inconsistency. In my opinion, why people. So if you had a neighborhood dive bar that only had fucking Natty Bows or Miller Lights and crab chips and freezer pizzas, but that's what you got every time, and you knew what you got, and it was always a freezer pizza. Whereas
I 100% agree with you. There's only one caveat to that.
Give me a caveat, Stove.
Consistency is important. However, I would argue that consistency is in and of itself subjective. How do you know? Hold on. Let me see.
Sure.
You told me the first time you went there was a week ago.
Yeah.
You had this,
and you told me
experience.
That you had an amazing experience
multiple times.
How many times in a row? How many times total have you been there and you had amazing experience?
Probably 7 or 8.
7 or 8
total,
right?
That I've ever been.
So why I say it's consistency is because if you'd have had the bad experience, you wouldn't have stopped going there. You'd have written it off as a bad experience. Consistency from a service standpoint makes no distinction between how many times.
But is one service interaction
enough to write it off?
No. Obviously, it's enough to write it off for a customer.
Well, they only have. And
you want to limit. You want to limit bad service interactions.
100%.
But is one service interaction a sample of consistency? I don't think it is. May have been.
That's why consistency is important, because every interaction needs to be. We'll call it a B+ or better.
I guess that's what
I have a successful business. I guess
term. That's what my original comment is. Between the two of us, we're talking about the same place. It is in your neighborhood, but I've been there more often.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I have experienced more consistent good service. You had a bad experience. Now, it would stand to reason, just by the number of times that I've been there, that your one bad experience is actually not the norm.
I would agree with you.
Right. And so
It was an inconsistent
Are they not?
service with
But
their
but here's the
normally
thing: isn't there always going to be a certain deviation of like
100%.
you can't get it perfect all the time?
100%. That's why I said it's one of the most, or I said it's the most, or I'm being a little hyperbolic. One of the most important things for the success of a restaurant.
Maybe we should say is to be as consistent as possible.
Yeah, but like, okay, think about it like this. You're fine dining restaurants. Why do you think a fine dining restaurant gets to charge as much as they
Fair
do?
enough. Your argument is the best of the best in this business. They are the most consistent, most often guaranteed. What you're going to get is what you're going to get.
Yeah, but the way I look at that as like a level 2 is you don't need to be a Michelin starred restaurant to be as consistent as a Michelin star restaurant. You just need to know exactly what you are.
Yeah.
And exactly who you're serving. So Hamden Yards, to your point, like they're serving drinks to people who want to drink. They don't have food. That's
With
what
dogs.
they do. They're going to make it
Yeah.
whether I have a good experience or not. But if you want to survive in the long term and like in the restaurant,
You need to be more
business,
of a catch-all and
you
create greater
your manager
consistency.
covers a
Yeah.
shift. Your manager can explain. You have an like all that shit.
I'm
is
playing devil's
yeah,
advocate
I
here.
know. I'm like, there's
But-
no way you can tell me
but-
this is
Well,
off.
I do agree with you that I will say when I
we're doing barefoot show today, by the way.
yeah, dogs out, bro. When I
Summertime.
went for the very first time and they were like, yeah, you need to order through the QR code. I was like, I fundamentally fucking hate this. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
You're 1 foot away.
You
from me. Just
do.
take my fucking order. It's also the reason.
What am I tipping you for then
It's-
if it's batched and I order it through a QR? Walking it to me?
It's also the same reason that I have problem with these breweries that are like pour your own beer breweries. They have exploded in the last couple of years.
Really?
You don't know?
Are there any around? Like I've never
Are
even heard of
you
one.
are you serious?
I swear to God. Pour your own beer?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm just asking questions. I'm talking about what you're talking
Yes.
about,
So
Steve.
it has become very posh to start either breweries or bars where when you come into the bar to cut down the cost of labor, patrons swipe a credit card and get like essentially like a Dave and Buster's fucking play card. And all around the room are like, I can't believe it's not yogurt pour fucking things
That is
with
so
labels.
stupid.
And you go up and you swipe your
Oh.
card, and it actually comes from a really cool concept. It comes from some of the wine bar concepts.
I hate it.
So it comes from wine bar concepts on the West Coast and down in like the very
Yeah.
high end places in
Yeah.
Florida, like Naples, where you used to be able to go to these wine bars. You could sit at the bar and do regular wine tastings, but all around the room were essentially these like wine vending machines where you could swipe your card and you could sample all sorts of different wines.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
But
I
that's
like that.
also like a in the
But there
yeah,
was
yeah, I
still
get it.
somebody there you could interact with. If you love
There's
this
still
wine,
a sommelier
you
is going to tell you
fucking
all
buy
about the
entire
wine.
bottle. The
Anyhow.
difference that has been applied to the beer industry is that you go to these places, and the big one is Baltimore County Brewing Company. And I hate to put them on blast. I love their location. I love all the different entertainment. They have live bands play there all the time. They have cornhole tournaments. There's so many cool things going on at their venue. But I lose a little bit of my soul every time I walk in there.
Because you have to.
You interact with basically a front desk concierge for 30 seconds, and then you do not interact with another employee the entire
Really?
time you're there. The entire room is lined with basically the draft bouts,
tap
draft
handles,
pours.
yeah.
And what you do is you walk up, you swipe your card, you pour as much as you want for yourself. As it's pouring, it shows you how much you're spending. So you can sample a little bit of beer, you can do a whole one, and
It's a gas station bar.
it's basically like a slushy machine, but for beer.
Oh God.
And it's a way to eliminate bartenders and eliminate labor.
yeah, but
costs.
then like who sells the 6-packs to them?
No, who tells me a fucking funny joke I've never heard?
That too,
Right?
Like a good bartender does
Who do
both
I-
of those things.
Who do I ask to send this shot to the girl on the other side of the bar? I'm
Who
trying to
do
get
I
her number.
tell that I own a small distribution company? Like that's what
It's terrible.
that's what these people miss when they're like sacrificing the actual experience for profitability, but they don't understand that you could probably just like right size the footprint of your business and staff appropriately. And you like that's what it takes to be successful, not making it a computer, because that's not why we go to places with other humans. We're all behind computers all day long. why would I want to spend my
Doggy.
free time doing the same fucking thing?
I actually am. I feel bad right now that I'm introducing this concept to you because
I'm gonna go burn it down.
it's not it's not new. We're like 5 or 10 years into this. There's a bunch of brands that
Well,
do.
if I would have been pissed 5 or 10 years ago, 4 or 5 or 10 years,
I would have stopped it.
you didn't introduce this like, and we know this is a sore subject for you.
I think. Listen, I think I speak for both of us when I say we need to get back to the old school. 2014, the summer of the World Cup, sitting at Woody's Rum Bar, just guys behind the bar muddling their dicks into a pulp. You know, just serving tropical drinks back there, just muddling away. That's what we need to get back to.
Yep, we need to get back
That
to
is
muddling our dicks into pulp.
Not my
That
best.
was a freewheeling, bro.
That was
Oh, yeah,
not
I
my
loved
best
it. I loved
analogy. Not my
Drinks-
best analogy.
Drink's done, man. Should we wrap this thing up?
Let's wrap this thing up. Just remind me next time. I got to tell you the story of how I actually originally adopted Javier.
Okay.
It's a great story.
Oh,
one of my best stories. But we'll
okay. You know what we should do? We should. So I'll take him and I'll set him up. You know what I mean? We'll get him all hooked up, right?
We're gonna bring him into the. Our guest on the show this week is my plant Javier. I love that. We're gonna do that. We're gonna put him right here. We'll put him up on the rim. Tate's gonna be jealous. Tate's gonna be like, "Oh, Javier got on the show before me."
Well, there's a lot of
Tate.
breakables in here.
That's Tate's older brother. Okay. I had him long before I had little Tater.
He's got the length to prove it.
Tate does bite him a lot. He tries to eat him, and Javier doesn't like that. But he's very patient with Tate. So eventually, listen. Do not let me forget. It's a great story of how I got Javier. I got him when he was only 1 leaf.
Yeah, that's
And
how you do it.
And now look at
That's
him.
how you do it.
Now look at him. Look how strong he
We're
is.
gonna make him pop.
All right, guys, listen, if you have been listening along, watching along, reading along, we do appreciate everything that you guys are doing for us because the support is all we need. Keep engaging with the community. Check us out on the Substack, on YouTube, and on all the different podcast platforms. That's
wherever you get them.
yeah, wherever you get your podcast. The best sources are probably Apple Pod and Spotify. As we always say, charm in every conversation, growth in every idea. We keep on sympathizing. Until next time.
Happy days. Happy days.
Happy days. And cheers to Woody's Rum Bar.
Ah,
we miss you.
Rest in peace.